Today we're going to be changing the oil in my 2001 LB7 Duramax. Our oil of choice today is Castrol GTX 15W40 CJ4. The additive is Hot Shot Secrets FR3 Friction Reducer. And our cat filter is the 1R1807 Advanced High Efficiency Engine Oil Filter. What's going on, fellers? So I thought before we get started changing the oil, I thought we'd talk a little bit about what we're using and why. So why am I using Hot Shots Secrets FR3 Friction Reducer? There's a few reasons, but first I'll just read to you what the bottle says. And then I'll show you. So it says increases horsepower up to 5%, verified by third-party ASTM testing. You can look this up on YouTube yourself. They show the dyno flow charts, and they show you their testing, and you can decide for yourself whether they're full of shit or that it actually works. It says increases fuel efficiency and economy up to 5%. I think it's in the same video. Reduces oil operating temperature. That's the one that I'm primarily interested in. Reduces engine wear up to 43%. Restores lost compression, reduces lift and valve noise. The two that I can verify is reduces valve noise. It does quiet the engine down a little bit, a little less ticking, and the engine does run a little bit smoother. The operating temperature does seem to drop lower, and I actually run about 4 ounces of this in my rear differential, and holy shit, that made the biggest difference in the world. If you're familiar with the channel, you know I do overlanding, and my truck is a full-time camper carrier, camper hauler. That's what I'm sitting in right now, is my camper. This thing's on there 24/7, 365 days a year, and whether I'm camping or not, I daily drive this truck with the camper on it because it's fun. I have another truck too, but I usually drive this one. It's just a fun rig to drive. But when I put this, before I put this in my rear diff, you can drive a few hours, and when it's under load and you're climbing up a nice steep incline, that rear diff gets too hot to touch. I tell you, like, try to put your hand on it for more than a second and you will burn yourself. Well, after I put this stuff in there, you can drive all day long, every day, doesn't matter, up any incline, under any load, and it will always be warm. It'll be warm. Kind of like medium warm, if that's the thing. It's like not hot, but it's not like lukewarm. It's kind of, up in there, mid-range somewhere, which tells me that it is doing what it's supposed to be doing and reducing that friction. And when you reduce your friction and you lower those temperatures in your rear diff and in your engine, you're going to get better fuel economy and you're going to get more horsepower. And so maybe the other things that they're talking about will fall in line. I can't verify that, but I can verify the temperature. And actually in a future video, I ordered an infrared temperature gun, and I'm going to take the old dually out for a spin, and we're going to do a before and after temperature gauge of my my rear diff. This will be for you guys, and also just a general community inquiry. What's the temp of your rear diff? If you have one of those guns, we can figure this all out together. If you don't, I picked mine up for about $38. It's in the mail right now, so I'll link that in the description on that video. Also, I'll link where I got this stuff from and how much it costs. But after that, firm believer that it's at least doing what it says, reducing the friction, lowering your temperatures. If you got a work truck under load, well, that's valuable. And if you're going on long, like week-long trips, you need to squeeze out every little bit of fuel economy you can so you don't get stranded in the middle of nowhere. I always have an extra 5-gallon jug, but I'm usually rolling in on fumes by the time I come back into town, just because I like to be out there, man. What can I say? So the second thing we're using is this big ass cat filter. I switched over to this about a year ago, and I have other videos you can check out as well on when I did this, and I'm pretty impressed with this filter. It's about like twice the size of the normal OEM filter, and because of that, if you're going to run something like this, you'll need a special adapter that'll fit. And those are fairly cheap. I'll link that in the description as well as where I got this from. But it takes an extra whole quart of oil in there, and it's a 2-micron filter, so you're getting better filterage. Is that a word, filterage? It's better. I haven't had a problem with it. I've been running a year. I've been working it hard, and my engine's running great. I have no complaints whatsoever. My alarm's going off on my phone, distracting me here. Better turn that off. It's telling me that I need to wake up and go back to work. So here we are. But yeah, and another thing I like about these filters, they're cost about half the cost of another filter. Of the normal OEM filters, they're quite a bit more expensive, which is kind of phenomenal. I also run the few filters and water separators on my lift pump as well, just because they're cheaper and they have a lower micron rating, like a 2 micron rating. It's just really good. We got a good deal on the GTX oil, so that's why we're rolling with this. I think right now it has the Lucas oil in there with the CK4 rating, if I am saying that correctly, and the CJ4 is supposed to be the new CK4. It's supposed to have a little better lubricating properties, and it's supposed to work well with these older engines. So we're gonna give it a try. If my shit breaks down, blows up, you'll be the first to know about it. So this is what we're gonna run, guys. We'll see how she do. If something goes wrong, I'll let you know. But otherwise, I've had really good experience with this oil filter, with friction reducer, and I've used castor oil in my gas engines before, and I've never had a problem. So might as well try it in my diesel as well. I got a 3-pack of these gallon sizes, so 3 gallons. For a reasonable price on Amazon. I'll link that in the description. It's been a while since I purchased them, so I don't remember the exact cost, so I don't want to make a fool of myself right away. So let's get this party started. So first, we're going to warm up the engine a little bit, get the fluids pumping, bring down that viscosity, bring down that viscosity with the engine temperature, and then we're going to shut her down. We're going to give it a few minutes for all that oil to drain back down to the pan, and hopefully this will kick up any gunk that might be sitting in the engine itself. Bring her down, and when it loosens up that oil, thins it out a little bit, it'll drain a little faster. We'll get more of that oil out. And things we're going to be looking for when we do this, we're going to be looking for any kind of chunks that might flow out, and we're going to be looking for flakes. I'll be looking for like flakes of oil, or flakes of metal, and chunks of the engine. We'll just see if it's eating itself. One thing I didn't record is probably about 3 fuel tanks ago, I put in a quart of Marvel Mystery Oil. And let me just grab that jug real quick. I'll be right back. And there she is, Marvel Mystery Oil. For those of you not familiar with this, it's been around forever. If what I read is correct, it was originally created in the 1920s to clean out submarines when they came back. They would run a bunch of this through the engine. It broke up all the sludge and the gunk. They'd flush it out, throw in new oil, and then run it. By 1923, it's been on the shelf since 1923 for people like you and I. And the hot rodders, the old hot rodders, swear by this stuff, use it for everything. I throw it in my fuel tank, and I throw it in the engine right before I change the oil. Usually, like 500 miles will do it. I'm actually going to make the change in my other truck, because I only put maybe about 1,000 miles on it a year, if that. I think I'm just going to add a quart of that in there and just leave it in there, just so it keeps everything from sludging up. And as far as what's in here, it's approximately 60% mineral spirit oil, and somewhere around 30%, this is all give or take a few percent, of white mineral spirit solvent. And then somewhere in that mix, they put a carbon softener, a heat polymer, and an anti-wear agent. It's really good stuff. It's combustible, so you can throw it in even in your gas tank, and it helps clean it up. And you can throw it right down your carburetor if you got an old vehicle, and it helps clean up those valves and everything as well. It's really is good stuff. And I think right before I go on my overland trip, I'm probably going to do a purge with this stuff because it helps clean out those injectors, any deposits that you have in there that might be causing some hazy smoke issues. This will definitely help it out. And before I forget, I just want to show you what I was reading so that you can see yourself. Pause it if you need to. We're just going to slowly scroll up like end credits on a movie. That's what she looks like. She's got some deets. Probably won't be able to read any of that, so like I said, I'll put a link in the description so that you can do your own research and tell me what you think down in the old comments section. Do you run this stuff? What's been your experience? Do you run these filters? What's your experience? Have you ever tried Marvel Mystery Oil? What's your experience? I don't know very many people who use it, know about it. You know, lots of people think it's just snake oil, but if you actually use it, test on it a bit, it's pretty impressive. So we're gonna go ahead and warm up that engine. We're just going to give that 5-10 minutes to do its thing and then shut her down and let all that oil drain down into the pan. We'll be right back. Oh man. God. Okay, come on. Oh, there it is. Get in. Get out of there. Oh yeah. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and call that good. Go ahead and throw the plug back in. So if you don't have a filter wrench, get yourself a leather belt. You probably already have one. I just pulled this one off my britches. It's an old Carhartt belt. It works pretty good. I used to know my fuel filter the other day. Let's see if I can create that magic. Okay, let's get your old nice up and in there. Yeah, come on. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, you son of a bitch. Yeah. If you're curious what the adapter looks like, let's go ahead and get you in there. So this is the cat filter adapter. As you see, it's a big son of a bitch, and it's a lot easier to put on and take off than the original one. I pretty much ruined the original one, so I'm glad this one fit and worked, but I think this one went on with a 1/2-inch drive, I'm pretty sure. I think. Well, you know, I know some of this crap was already in there. I probably should have done a better job of cleaning it beforehand, but I am seeing chunks of like some carbon buildup. I think that's carbon. Breaks up pretty easy. filled up. Go ahead and lubricate that seal. So we're going to go ahead and slap this on, but because I can't leave well enough alone and I'm super curious, we're going to go ahead and cut that open and see what that filter catches. In here. Trying to look while I'm showing you at the same time here. Now we're seeing little, I don't know if you can see those little specks. Of course I contaminated by cutting her open, but just keep digging. What's this? This material. You know what? This is going to make great fire starter. I'm going to go ahead and save this. Put it in a box. I'm going to use it to start my campfire tomorrow. Okay. We're going to go ahead and mix this friction reducer into our oil before we pour it in. Okay, so with what I put in the filter, plus what I'm putting in here, this will make 5 quarts. Another 4 quarts, this will make 9. That will about do work. Gotta check on this oil a little bit. Perfect. Well, before I leave you here, I was just taking it out for a cruise, taking her out for a rip to see how she do. We got this camping spot here for tomorrow. I just wanted to show you where I live. Man, we might have picked a windy spot. It's all right though. A little deer trail. About 100 years ago, that glacier was all the way right where we're standing. When I moved here, when I was a little kid, back in '91, the glacier was covering that rock. See that rock right there? The glacier was all the way over on the other side. It covered right up, and all this was all glacier. So it's receded quite a bit. Is she idling nice? Thanks for sticking around this long. Please smash that like button if you found something interesting in here, something useful, something entertaining. When you do that, it really does help out the YouTube channel. It helps YouTube connect this video to like-minded folks like you and I. Please subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this in the future. Don't forget to check out all the other content I have here. I've been working on this channel for about a year now, and we got about 70-something videos up. So please check them all out. And if you're so inclined, I got some old music videos too. So you want to hear some virtuoso guitar shredding, but you didn't see that coming, go ahead and check that out as well. All right, guys. Thanks for sticking around. We'll see you on the next one.